Good morning, everyone. First thing I would like to do is to thank the team this morning. I'd like to thank Mark for his meditative reading. I want to ask him a question. Did that page have my name on it? You know, many people come up to me and say, wow, you spoke right to me this morning. I would have to say to you, you spoke right to me this morning, and I am deeply grateful for that. And I also want to thank Jackie for the beautiful song, because I told her what I was going to be talking about, and I said, what do you think? And she said, let me think about it. And a little bit later, she sent me the words to that great piece of music. Now, I can't read music, so I didn't know how zippy it was going to be, but it was fabulous. And friends, it sends us such a positive message this morning, a positive message for a positive day. And my talk title says, to be determined. We know what the abbreviation of that looks like. It's TBD, which means we're not sure what we're going to do, but we'll let you know when we do. And then, of course, the rest of my talk title was what and by whom. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is, as I explained to Jackie, my back to school talk. Pretty much of my 34 years in ministry, I always gave the back to school talk very close to Labor Day or whenever the kids were going to be going back to school. Because I noticed that every year, long after I had stopped going to school, I would get the back to school urge. And I would go into the section of the store and I'd buy 2 new pencils or an eraser. I had no idea what I was going to do with the eraser. It was long since I'd used an eraser. Or I'd buy a little notebook or something because I would have the back to school urge. Well, you know what? It really happened this year as well. And I went to the dollar store and I was looking for some other stuff and I found this little 3-ring binder, little folder, little thing that you could put with a zipper and put stuff in it. And I thought, I haven't had a 3-ring binder in 150 years, but that's my kitty. And I'm going to buy that. After all, it's only $1. And I thought, what am I going to do with it? Oh, I'll put stuff in it. And then when I throw it into one of my big purses, I won't have to go digging in a deep, dark hole to find something. So that back to school urge is very, very strong, friends. And for a moment, I'd like us to remember that. I'd like us, if you need to close your eyes to do it and visualize it, that's okay. If you just want to listen to my voice and bring up some memories, remember going back to school, whether it was elementary school or it was high school or whatever it was. There would be an excitement. There would be a wonder. What's going to happen this year? Who am I going to meet? What am I going to be doing? What am I going to learn? What's going to unfold before me? Most of the time, it was pretty good. We have really happy memories. And then some of the time we have unhappy memories. And I invite you to allow those to come forth too. I mean, for me, it was Sister Gertrude who taught geometry in high school. She and I were just not on the same wavelength. And needless to say, I failed geometry, had to take it in summer school. And then I'm thinking of another time. I went to a very small parish school. It was so small that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, 3 of us were in the same classroom. There were probably no more than 14 in either one of those grades, and we all fit into that room. And the other day I was thinking about that experience, and I was thinking about the dear sister who taught those 3 grades. Her name was Sister Olga. I feel that I can freely speak about her now because I know how old I am, and this was really a long time ago. So I realize she is probably safely in God's loving presence at this time. I could never figure out Sister Olga. because you never knew who was going to walk through the door when she came into that classroom. I didn't understand it, when I was 12 and 13 and 14. But many, many years later, when I studied for a master's degree in clinical psychology, I realized Sister Olga was bipolar. And in that moment, I thought, wow, that's a memory of school that I can now move beyond. So we look at this experience of going back to school, the good times, the not so good times, and we say, why is this important? And why would the minister possibly want to give a back to school's lesson? Because, friends, we are in school. We are in what is known as life school. And the end of August or the beginning of September, when our children or our grandchildren or our great-grandchildren are going back to school, we have the opportunity to say to ourselves, I'm going to go back to school too. I'm going to set some goals for this coming school year. And I thought, wow, that's really a great idea. And then I thought, okay, God, what qualities or aspects would we need if we were going back to school and we were going to be preparing ourselves for this schooling experience? So I pulled out 3 angel cards, and I have to tell you truthfully, I didn't like the first 3. The first 3 I pulled out were efficiency, enthusiasm, and my least favorite, which is patience. And I thought, yuck. That sounds like the qualities I need if I'm making a to-do list to clean the garage or the basement. And I said, I'm sorry, God, we're going to try it again. So I put those back in the pack, and I pulled out 3 more angel cards. You know what my angel cards look like. You've seen them, those little things that I'm absolutely in love with and have been carrying around for probably 40 years. This time, friends, I felt God did much better. Okay, maybe it wasn't God. Maybe I was more open, receptive, and willing to be responsive. And the 3 words which came out in this order are love, honesty, and purpose. I thought, wow, love, honesty, and purpose. The first thought that came to me was, yes, love. Why? Because God is love. We have always said this. We have always taught this in Unity. We do not pray and beg a punitive God. We pray to a loving God whom we know dwells within us. In other words, the very essence of our energy, the very part of that song which says, I believe I can do anything, is the presence of God within us. We have always taught that God, however we define God, however we imagine God to be, is loving. We remember the words of Jesus who said, it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. It is the Father's good pleasure. In other words, when we are open and responsive to God, we make God happy. Now that sounds like a silly phrase, but it's true, friends. God loves us so much that it takes joy in our happiness. It takes joy in our joy because it loves us. And again, Jesus also said, love your neighbor as yourself. Of course, he preceded that statement with, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. That's our relationship, God, to presence within us. And then you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Well, volumes and volumes and discussions have gone on who is my neighbor. But I'd like to look at the tag end of that sentence. Love my neighbor as I love myself. Perhaps on our agenda for life school for the next several months or the next year, there'd be a course in love, a course in loving ourselves, that we may love others more strongly, more truly, more faithfully. And of course, we love ourselves by understanding who we are and understanding what unity teaches us. I am an individualized expression of God. How do we know? How do we know that God is within us? Because the teacher told us, the master teacher said, he who has seen me has seen the Father. And on more than one occasion, he has always implied, if not stated it clearly, that which is within me, Jesus, is within you. So maybe we can love ourselves more by looking in the mirror in the morning, bedhead and all, and going, wow, I really love you. Okay, that might be a little hard for starters, but as they say, practice makes perfect. The other thing is to look at one another. We have this beautiful expression in our unity tradition. The Christ in me greets the Christ in you. I look beyond the seeming differences. The difference is in skin tone, in facial structure, in hair color or texture or body size or gender or any of the things that we think make us different. And I look to the very depth of the soul. I see with the inner eye, and I look into the soul of the person before me and go, oh, hello, God. It's really good to see you today. You're looking marvelous, as a great musician we know used to say. So this concept of love is the first quality or attribute or potentiality or power that we want to cultivate. So we can take a course in that. And we do that always whenever we spend time in prayer and meditation. Remember, our foundation says there is only one power and one presence. And we live and move and have our being within that power. And we connect to it through prayer and meditation. Instead of thinking about it as meditation, maybe we think about it as our love moment. Our love moment. The second card I pulled out was honesty. I liked that one. And immediately what came to my mind was something with which many of us are very familiar. I don't know a unity minister who hasn't taught the course or the class on the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And he says, be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. Well, one of the courses I took when I went to school was Latin. And I know that the word impeccable comes from the Latin word peccatus, which can mean sin, or it can mean error, or it can mean untruth, or not exactly spot on, to put it in colloquial language. And what Don Miguel is saying to us, speak only the truth. Speak only the truth. And speak the truth of your being. We know that one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not lie. So to whom do we lie? That would be a question. Most of us are going to say, well, I've lied to, and then we make a long list of beginning with Mom. I didn't take that cookie out of the cookie jar. Somebody else did. Or, the famous one, the check is in the mail. I could go on with a long list of little lies that we tell folks, that we tell to other people. But what are the lies that we tell ourselves? When are we not honest with ourselves? I think the lyrics to the song this morning really address that. What I think is who I am. And when we think I'm not, fill in the blank with your favorite word, instead of I am. I am the Christ presence visible on this planet. If a hand is needed to lift someone up, it's my hand. If a shoulder is needed to lean upon, it's my shoulder. If 2 feet and 2 legs are needed to walk another to a better place, I am there. It is not for nothing that the question was raised in Scripture, whom shall I send? And our response is, send me, Lord. Because it is not enough that we know the truth of unity, the unity principles. It is that we choose to live them, to be them. And that's what I thought when I got the second set of words, love, honesty, and purpose. This was a to-be list, not a to-do list. So we are honest in all ways with everyone. And the first one, as I said, with whom we need to be honest is ourselves, We have come through as a people and as a nation and as a world and as a planet through an extremely challenging time yet. You know, when the team prayed this morning before beginning our technical aspects of our service, each one of us was really, really grateful for the weather. I mean, I'm so happy. My cat's so happy. I think the birds are happy. I can hear them chirping away. It's why I had to close the door behind me. I think we're so happy for some respite from heat and humidity and from storms and from power outages and from flooded basements and from film clips on television of fires, not just in our own country, but in countries to which we may have been. I've been to Greece. I've been to Turkey. It breaks my heart to see people suffering there. Why? Because they're people just like us. We can look at them and say, I behold the Christ in you, despite your different features, your different skin tones, your different hair structure, your different languages. You and I are one. And we live in love because the master teacher gave us the perfect example. Love one another as I have loved you. So we might ask ourselves, well, how did Jesus love us? Well, first he brought us an honest message. He took the teachings of the Old Testament, in which we lived in an era when God was carried around in a box, and you had to be near that box in order to be near God. And he said, no, our relationship to God is different. God is within us. God is an essence. It is a spirit, and we worship God in spirit. And as our closing prayer always says, wherever I am, God is. Jesus meant himself, and he meant each one of us. Wherever I am, wherever Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Sue, Mary, or Jane are, or any of the other people in our congregation, in our homes, on our streets, in our libraries, at the gas station, wherever we see one another, friends, we are seeing the presence of God. And we can choose to see that as truth. Okay, they may not agree with us on a whole series of topics, but that's their right and their privilege, as it is our right and privilege to differ. But there is one thing that we know from Genesis 1:26, and God created humankind in God's image and likeness. And as we were studying in one of our classes, that is in the image of creation, in the image of Creator. And that brings us to our third word. The first was love. The second was honesty. And as I said, be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean and mean what you say from the heart of love. The last word is purpose. Well, what are we here to do? We're here to be God made visible. That's what incarnation means. God made visible. This hand, this head, this body, these feet, and all the other heads, hands, and bodies and feet that we see in the world are here for a purpose, and that is to see God. I had a very unusual experience a couple nights ago watching Channel 7, and he was nattering on about something, and I was only giving him half an ear when all of a sudden I heard a word that said, wigs for kids. And I went, wigs for kids? Yeah, I know wigs for kids. And in the next split second on the screen was an image of a woman with blonde hair. And I yelled at the cat, oh my God, that's my former hairdresser. And then at the bottom of the screen was her name, Maggie Varney. Maggie Varney was my former hairdresser probably 20 years ago. I was living in Rochester and driving all the way over to the to the east side to get my hair cut and colored. Yes. And I thought, she's still doing it. What Wigs for Kids is the program that Maggie started so that children who suffer hair loss, very often because of childhood cancer, can have wigs. She's been doing it now probably for 30 years. Friends, that's motivated by love. That's being honest. She loves what she does. She's a hairstylist. She's a hairdresser. She makes people look beautiful. And she offered children this. And she's fulfilled her purpose to be God made manifest. Very often when I watch news, I move to tears. It seems to happen more frequently. I'm either looking at some terrible fire or some landslide or some flood or some other catastrophe. And it's like, are we not getting the message? Are we not listening? Are we not paying attention to the fact that maybe we have some catch-up work to do on our care for the planet? That's another talk some other time. That's also part of our purpose. But then the next story that comes out is one that moves me to tears all over again. Except this time, they're tears of joy, like the one I saw last night. A little 3-year-old boy who needed a bone marrow transplant, and nobody in his family was a perfect match. And then a total stranger turned up and was a perfect match. And today, he's like any 3-year-old, full of just jumping around and smiling and happy and being a 3-year-old. And on screen, he met his donor. And the tears are running down my face, and I'm so happy. And I'm thinking, yes, love, honesty, and purpose. That's what life school is all about, friends. We have this opportunity every day that presents itself in the morning. Do we wake up every morning grumbling, going, oh God, it's going to be 92 today. Oh, yippee, the humidity is going to be 95%. Oh my gosh, it's raining, and on and on and on. Or do we wake up every morning, look at the ceiling and go, yes, it's a ceiling. I'm still here. And when our feet hit the floor, are we grateful that we have a floor under us? Are we grateful that we have feet to put on that floor? Friends, our lives are very rich, despite what seems like a time of constraint and suffering. With the COVID pandemic, we still live a life in which God showers us with love. So what do we do with our purpose? What are we going to do with our purpose? We're going to go back to school, which is to be open, receptive, and responsive to Spirit speaking within us. We spend time in prayer and meditation. We make time. If it's 20 seconds at a stoplight, at a stoplight, it's 20 seconds at a stoplight. If you can do more, but make it part of your life. We are impeccable with our word. We say what we mean, and we mean what we say, and we begin to bless everything, and we become blessed to be a blessing. And the last one is the purpose. Well, don't you know it? I found some words that really tell us exactly what our purpose is. I'm going to hold them up because Mark said that you can see them. It's okay. They look backwards to me, but they look right side to you. The first one is connect, friends. I know we've been in a time of isolation, but we connect at soul level. We may not yet be able to reach out and touch someone with a hand, but we can connect because we are already connected at soul level. The next word is share. Share your humanity as well as your divinity. Share by being who you really are, by being genuine, by being honest and true with your word. The next two kind of work together. Give. Do we realize how much we have to give? Here's something we can give. Yep, my mom used to call it showing the 32 pearlies. We can give someone a smile. Yes, we can, folks, even if we are wearing a mask, because watch what happens when we smile. Our eyes smile as well. And what we give, the impeccable word, the love we give, we are entitled to take because life is this circle of giving and receiving. That which has been given is there for the taking. You look at the next one and you go, solve? What am I supposed to do? Solve the problems of the world? Am I supposed to make peace in Afghanistan? Am I supposed to figure out some way not to have fires in the midst of a drought? No, friends. It's much closer than that. It's solving is being open and receptive to the God moment. When your neighbor says, oh my gosh, my car is broken down and I've got to be X, Y, and Z tomorrow. Can you possibly give me a ride? And we go, yeah, sure. Maybe you don't even know that neighbor well, but they reached out, which takes us back to connect and share and give and take. And we have solved. And as we solve, friends, we save. We save someone from trial. We save someone from tribulation. We can save someone from sadness. We can save someone from loss, from grief, if it's only for a moment, because we have connected and we are present. So we look at all of these: connect, share, give, take, solve, save, smile. When we do that, I really love you bit in the bathroom mirror in the morning, there's something you have to include. It's called a smile. It's called a smile. We have to smile at ourselves more rather than grimacing at ourselves. The last word is lovely because it's unity. Of course, that is the name of our movement, friends. But it is more than just a name of our movement. It's an awareness that we are united, that we are unified in our spiritual being life, having a human experience. That's what Life School is all about. It's coming to understand there is no other, there is no different, there is only one. And that is the one presence. And we live and move and have our being in that. So I invite you to go to the store and buy something that speaks to you. Buy a pencil, buy a pen, I don't know, buy a little notebook, go to the dollar store. Don't blow a lot of money on it. There's all kinds of goodies that you can buy in there, and they're cute. Yeah. And guys, you can do this too. You really can. You can buy something that makes you think about going back to school. Oh, I got a good idea. Do they still sell yo-yos? I don't know, but somebody could find out and then let me know if they still sell yo-yos. So you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start taking my kitty with me by filling it up with junk and putting it in my purse. Okay, it's not junk. It's pens and papers and stuff that ladies carry around in their purses. Maybe you can put something in your back pocket, guys, or in your breast pocket, or hang it on your keychain that reminds you that life is school and that we are here to learn. And what we learn is God's infinite love for us. And we share it, and we speak it honestly, and we fulfill our purpose of being God made flesh on planet Earth today.